Alright Reds, it's Talking Reds, Friday's Talking Reds from the Liverpool waterfront, and I'm joined by Ian Salmon, which is nice because I've not seen him for ages. And yeah, Liverpool's starting to open up. You may hear someone busking in the background as you're watching this, which is nice.
We're weirdly doing a bit of Beatles, very unusual.
Yeah, unusual to be doing a bit of Beatles. As you walk through the city as well, people are having a drink, eating outside, all of that. You know, a little bit of normality is starting to come back, which is all very nice. But it did, as I was riding my bike down here, I got a flat tyre, and I thought, fucking hell, anything else, world? And it feels like a bit of an analogy for the Red Sea in that I just think one of the problems for us this season, or one of the problems for them playing the games, that group, if you like, even the manager, it's felt like the world's been against them, hasn't it? And yeah. I think that's dead hard for them. But I kind of think, even though we've gone out of Europe, we gave a good account of ourselves in the week, and that counts for something.
We did. I mean, the whole thing, to push the analogy even further, is the whole season has just felt flat.
Yeah.
One of my mates was saying on WhatsApp the other night, this should have been 12 months of celebrating.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's been taken away.
I used to say, you know, we can sing that we're champions every week now for a year.
And we haven't got to do it once. And, you know, well, we can do it again in 18 months. I do think Wednesday night, it was Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like Wednesday.
Yeah.
We gave a good account of ourselves. We played good football. We were the better team until we got to the 18-yard box, at which point the same problem we've had all season has risen again. It's kind of like the problem appears to have been the centre-backs all season, but it's not really. It's the complete and utter failure to score. 139 shots at home in 2021, and we scored 3 times.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
It's absolutely terrible. It's not working. I mean, Nat Phillips has been getting better and better by the week, and I thought on Wednesday night he was one of the candidates for man of the match. It was completely secure. Admittedly, Rail didn't need to test him. If they had needed to test him, maybe his pace would have been shown, but his passing range had suddenly become really good. He's playing really nice inside passes, and the lad's done brilliantly.
He's taken his opportunity, hasn't he? I
yeah.
mean, if it doesn't work out for him at Liverpool, you kind of think, you know, he's gone from a player where after Championship and more wanted to sign him before this season. I think now he'd be looking at trying to get a club in the Premier League.
He's a Premiership player. Yeah. He definitely is. He's been at a Premiership standard as a centre-back, and I think it's exemplified by the fact that when Jurgen has to make the change, he takes Kabak off. Because Kabak looks like he's going to be a good player, and I'd be all for keeping him in the summer.
Yeah, I would.
I'm just not sure whether he can pass or not. I genuinely can't tell you. I think it's one of those things you'd tell more if you're in the ground. I think you'd see more of the lad in the ground.
There's a dog barking at the ferry here, which is quite amusing.
It's a very colourful ferry, in fairness. It's the Dazzle ship one. So it's a bit of a Paul Weller. You can't even see it, or maybe you can, maybe you're getting an insert. But that's the Paul Weller link, the Beatles link, because it's designed by Peter Blake, who did Stanley Road cover and did Sgt. Pepper, quite famously.
See, a little bit of, you didn't think you were getting that in Talking Reds, did you?
A little bit of history that you weren't expecting.
This match, not even this weekend, Monday, the match on Monday night against Leeds, we've been better away. I mean, we do seem to have got the home hoodoo hopefully off our backs now by beating Villa by a decent-ish.
Unbeaten in 2.
Yeah, unbeaten in 2. But away from home, we've been all right for a while. Yeah. You know, there's been a mini revival which was sparked away from home. So this is away from home. Leeds are the most mid-table team you can be, in that they've won the same number that they've lost, they've scored the same number that they've conceded. Yeah. You know, it's perfect if you like that kind of thing. They've just beaten City, obviously, so you'd think, you know, that's going to give them a bit of life. But either way, you sort of know what's going to happen. It's going to be an open game. Surely there will be goals, because Leeds are good, they score goals, but they also leave you loads of space at the back. So it's going to come back to what you've just said. We've got to take our chances, and the problem is, obviously, Mo is the only one who's scored, and even he missed the sitter the other night.
Well, that's it. If he converts that, we win that game easily. I thought 2-0 was well within our reach. We could be 5-0 up at half-time easily. It just needed a calm red in the box. And Leeds, I think, could be very like the first game of the season, where it's what was it, 4-3 if I remember rightly, and they look threatening, but they're a weird team. They battle really well. They're creative. They never give up. They have some bizarre losses, but then some ridiculous wins as well. They've had some big wins in there. Obviously, the City win's the biggest, but in that game, they have 2 shots on target, and City have 25, and they're down to 10 men. So it's a hell of a victory for them, but
Yeah.
I don't want to see them repeat against us. If we can get an early goal, and the early goal is what's really costing us. We're not scoring the early goal. We're not scoring first half goals. It's Bobby nearly had the first half goal against Villa. It's
VAR did its shitty work once more.
the VAR that's killed football for me this season. I know. I've renewed my season ticket. Our kid is talking about not renewing his because he lives in the Isle of Man, and the whole Auto Cup scheme is a complete mess. If you can't get over here, you basically have to buy tickets and not go to the game because you can't pass them on to anyone in the Auto Cup, apparently, even your friends and family list. But the whole VAR sucking all the joy out of football now. And I was 2 years ago, I was an advocate for VAR. I think the problem with VAR is the idiots who are sitting there watching it on the screen.
The technology's not there for it. That's what they need to put their hands
The human
up and
judgment isn't there either. We're talking about the same people who are making mistakes on the field and making worse mistakes by having to draw lines. It's ridiculous.
I hate the gaslighting around it as well. Like, you know, we can see it's shit, we know it's shit, and yet they keep defending it and putting out statements like there was a weird thing about, you know, what you see on television isn't what they see, going on about pixels and all this. And I was like, well, this information's never come out before, so why are you releasing it now? It's just a PR campaign to try and make it look better than it actually is. It's crap. The frame rate's not there, the technology's not there. I'd just fuck it off or get better technology.
If what we're seeing on telly isn't what they're seeing, show us what they're seeing.
Exactly.
Because I swear to God, the technology used to play FIFA is more accurate than what they're using for the offside rule in games that are worth millions of pounds.
FIFA, it shows you, doesn't it? Like, you know,
from multiple angles.
You can slow it down and have
within
a
seconds.
And then you go, all right, yeah, let you off. In terms of the lads, top four is obviously the aim, and it feels like a bit of a. I mean, every game's going to be must-win here on in. 7 games left, but this one, I was looking at it this morning, thinking, well, Chelsea and Leicester are in the FA Cup this weekend.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of opportunity to get a point behind Leicester, get above Chelsea, and just sort of psychologically, you know, dig the fist into the stomach a little bit.
Get a little bit of pressure on them. It's a case of where we have to win all 7 now, and we have to hope somebody else makes a mistake for us. But you can see the mistakes that are there.
And they're playing each other as well. The West Ham are playing Chelsea, Chelsea are playing Leicester, I think. You know, there's opportunity there for them to be taking.
So people taking points off each other, and you know, Everton.
Everton tonight against Spurs.
I didn't even realise. Yeah. I had literally no idea that Everton were playing tonight. This is how disattached I am from football. Everton Spurs, that's a nice one for them to take points. You know, a draw would be lovely. A couple of weeks ago, they looked like they could finish 6 points ahead of us. But we've got to the point now where their injury list is now probably as bad as ours was at our very, very worst. And so everyone's getting that. All we need to see is a couple of injuries to Chelsea and they could become ineffective again. It's, you know, they come through. Tuchel's made them a brilliant football team overnight, basically. But Leicester, you always see that crumble in them. You know that it's there for them to not go for last season. Yeah. So I think fourth is there. Fourth has to be there for us because this summer has to be bigger. I was listening to the Weekender on the way into town. I heard Jamie Webster intimating that he'd heard from strong sources that the treasure chest is being opened this summer, and I hope to God it is, because I worry that we're at a point now where we actually need to rebuild.
Yeah, I think we are as well. I mean, there's loads. I mean, you might have heard me say on the weekend that, you know, Milner puts in a good performance the other night.
He's 35.
He's 35 in 100 days, and that's as old as Ian Callahan was in 1978. That's the last time we played a player that old in a Euro.
In fairness, we've got 3 more years out to Kelly as well, I think. So.
Well, he was absolutely amazing, wasn't he? He was an absolute machine. So is Milner. But equally, what I'm saying is, if Genie's going, you know, we're surely bringing in a midfielder. We don't just go, surely, we'll just rely on Kurt, because he's only a kid.
He's still learning the game. He's great. The potential's fantastic, but you can't rely on him
world class.
coming to 20 years old. Yeah, and we've got to throw in the word Kaiser into this conversation now. Because for me, I'm not going to throw any single player under the bus. I'm not going to throw the manager under the bus. But Jurgen's decision to play Kaiser in Madrid. On their training pitch. That's the other thing. We should have made them play Kirby when they came over here, because we had to play on their little carpet with the weird camera, as you said. And Jurgen's decision to play Kaiser backfired so massively. When you take a player off before half-time, that's a damning indictment of his anonymity in the game as a whole, and that unbalance that we gave to midfield is what cost us the first leg for me.
Yeah.
And Naby Keita may well be a brilliant footballer. I've seen moments that show that he's probably a brilliant footballer, but we can't get him on the pitch.
We don't see them enough, do we? That's the
and
thing.
We've got to accept that if we can get money for him in the summer, we take it.
That's the issue though, isn't it? It's the money we paid for him, and what club in Europe now wants to pay anyway.
We'll be looking at a 30 million quid loss.
Yeah.
And the other problem we've got is we need to rebuild the front. It's looking at the point where we don't know if Bobby can come back to who he was 2 years ago. We don't know where Sadio's head is at the moment. Sadio's really suffered this year, and he's 29. He's about to turn 30. It could be the problem
going on with him. I mean, I'm not normally one for like speculating, but I just think, just watching him, he's so off it at the minute. There is something going on in his head. I mean, I thought it was really weird that we score the late goal against Aston Villa, and everyone celebrates, and look, your team has just scored in the very last minute, and it's a brilliant goal from Trent, and you've been having a terrible time. You didn't celebrate.
I didn't notice that, but you know what that reminds me of? The second Newcastle 4-3 where Collymore on the bench, and when we score the fourth, everybody goes off except Stan Collymore, and you look at him and go, there's a fight going on now.
It's that dog again that didn't like the ferry.
Bring it to me, dog. Honest to God, there's a dog that size taking on a dog that size, and the only chance the dog that size got is if the other dog chokes on it.
I reckon we should just do a show where we
about the dogs and the ferries.
Watch people at the beer and talk about it. You know what I mean?
It's all content.
Do you know what I mean? It might be better than talking about the Reds, to be honest.
Yeah. But no, the moments, as I said, I didn't know Sadio not celebrating, but when a player doesn't celebrate, then you know there's something wrong there.
It could just be, look, I might be making a mountain out of a mole. It could just be that he didn't start the game and he had a call up. It could be as simple as that.
He's quoted as saying that lockdown's been hard for those of us who haven't got family and wives. And you think, well, lockdown's been hard for everyone. If you're a lad whose only existence is training, playing football, and there's nobody at home when you go home, what are you supposed to do with yourself? What does that do to your actual mental well-being?
I mean, I don't train and play football, but I'm on my Todd and I can tell you that's fucking shit.
Yeah.
Listen, on the Anfield Wrap, there is loads of stuff as ever. Ian mentioned the Weekender there, which is all about the weekend, about the Reds, about stuff going on in the city. That's a free one that you can get stuck into. Our stuff post-Madrid as well, video and audio, was put out for free. So if you're ever sort of wondering what goes on behind that paywall at the Anfield Wrap, what you get, well, there's a little taster of it. You can also download the app, get free tokens on there and have a go of any of our premium content. There's loads of stuff on there at the moment, not just about the current Liverpool, there's stuff about the past Liverpool, there's interviews with players, Josh had Lallana on, there's all kinds on there.
Lallana's talking about Dortmund, wasn't it?
Talking about Dortmund, yeah, which was an absolutely fantastic night, and look, we will have those nights soon again once more. If it all goes to plan, we're going to have 10,000 in for Crystal Palace, the last game of the season, which, I talked at the start about, it's nice to start to see a bit of normality coming back. 10,000 in at Anfield.
That'll feel like proper normality, won't it? Because we saw what the noise of 2,000 making. I honestly think...
Did you get in for any of them?
I didn't know. I didn't come up in the ballot. I honestly think that ended up being detrimental to us because we had those games where there was us and Everton that could get fans in, basically because we took that tier 3 thing, or whatever tier we were, and we were doing the testing. So we were a little more open than the rest of the country. So in the Premiership, there was only us and Everton really with fans getting in. And I think we had that taste of fans coming back. And then when that was taken away again, that hurt even more. Yeah,
I looked at the players in that. I mean, I went to the Wolves game, but the Spurs game as well. Like in the Wolves game, Mata comes to the cop and he's absolutely screaming at the fans. Bobby runs the length of the pitch when he scores the winner against Tottenham. And I just think it is shite for them. Let's have it right. Playing in empty stadiums for every club, every team, every football player who's used to it, it's crap innit? And Modric the other night said the same. It's not just our players. He was like, I wish the fans were in our Anfield.
Because the likes of Modric and Kroos, they want to challenge the fans because they've heard so much about we've stopped Barca, we've stopped Dortmund, we've stopped St Etienne, we've done all this. These are the legendary nights. And Modric, I don't know, he wouldn't have been with Real. He'd have still been at Spurs last time Real came. But Real, last time they came when we were under Rodgers, they were on a different planet to us and they silenced the ground. You won't do that again.
We rolled out the red carpet that night. That was awful. Let's not remember that one. Anyway, okay, that's been Talking Reds. It's been a good chat. Nice to be in the sunshine outside. Nice to see Mr. Ian Salmon, playwright extraordinaire. More stuff to come from him. I was just hearing off camera there as well. He's been writing away for a year. So yeah, look out for that. And yeah, have a look what we're doing on the Anfield Wrap. Up the Reds.